Hello, this is Kim Cruz with my presentation on understanding my community. The Hugoton community is a rural conservative community. 61% of the population is married. In Hugoton, we have a low crime rate. The crime rate index here is 52.9 or 52.9 with the U.S. average of 236. Conservative Christian views. We have 13 churches in the small community, and it's seen in the school districts little things like instead of winter break we have Christmas break, and the Christian views come through the schools where may not be seen in larger communities that way. And we have a frequent turnover in administration, but with a small community, all the new staff is welcomed into the community as members of the community. Hugoton has a population of almost 4,000. We're almost 50-50 white and Hispanic. The education levels in the community, 82% high school graduation, have a high school diploma, 18% with college degrees, and 4% with a graduate level degree. Median age is 34. We have a few more females in the community than males, and our occupation is typically blue collar. The statistics are 28% construction, but we also have a lot of farming and agriculture background in the community. Common sources of communication. We don't have a radio station in town. The closest radio station is 30 miles away, but they do report on local events in Hugoton. We do have a local paper. It comes out once a week. We get our TV stations out of Wichita, which is 235 miles away. With the larger Hispanic population, translators are needed throughout the schools and the municipalities, as well as many businesses, when seeking jobs in the community. Being bilingual is a benefit. Typically, people get their news in the community through social media or online. We have a variety of community groups. The Hugoton Chamber of Commerce. Within the schools, we have building and district leadership teams. We have some philanthropic organizations with the Lions Club. Pheasant Heaven is a charity that supports families in need. And the Parsons Group is a organization that helps fund a lot of things going on in the schools. They helped build a new baseball field and different things like that. Within the schools, we have Latinos Make a Difference. We have the booster clubs, of course, and we don't have any defined groups within the community that are known to cause problems. We don't have any gangs. We're a pretty small rural community. The leadership in town, we have the mayor, and then we have city and county commissioners. It benefits the citizens of Hugoton and of Stevens County. Business owners and local farmers play large leadership roles, being such a small community. And then we have the leadership within the schools, the superintendent, and we have 4 principals for our buildings. Most of our issues in our small town center around finance and bringing new businesses to town. We had a large ethanol plant move into town and very quickly closed. So that caused some financial difficulties with when they moved in. We had issues with housing, and our school district grew tremendously. And now that they've closed, we've lost many businesses, and we've lost a lot of students as well. Our leadership in the community, they're very accessible. Everyone kind of knows everyone, so it's pretty easy to access community leaders. And the community leaders have the knowledge of, the state subsidies and local subsidies to bring in those new businesses to help grow our community. Like I mentioned before, the picture below is the ethanol plant that was built and then quickly closed, and it brought along with it businesses that supplied corn stalks to make ethanol, and that business has left town. We, because of the ethanol plant, got a new hotel built, and I believe they're struggling now as well. So the agriculture in this community plays a big role as far as our economic prosperity. The unemployment rate is 3.9%. Our median home value in Hugoton is $81,000. And then our district office is centered downtown, not within our district, but has a separate office downtown. We're a pretty conservative community, and it impacts some of the decision making in the schools as far as decision making in curriculum and some of the sorts of things that are taught. It does influence. Our education system is also a big employer for our community. Hugoton spends $9,531 per pupil. We have 4 buildings. We have the ECDC, or the Early Childhood Development Center. We have Hugoton Elementary, and then we have middle school and high school. And our property tax rate is $8.41. There is some racial tensions between white students and Hispanic students. Nothing extreme. We don't have any gang affiliations within our schools. We have the typical cliques, the athletic students congregating and hanging with the athletic students. I think students, especially at the high school level, kind of find their niche, and they stick with the kids that they have things in common with. There's been no accusation of discrimination within the schools, but I think there's some underlying discrimination between students, between cultural background differences and misunderstandings of each other's cultures between the Hispanic and white students. Sources of information for our community, our local newspaper, and they print our school board meeting minutes. There are links on our website to access those minutes, but they're not always up and available. The best place to get that information is our local newspaper. We have a teacher survey that the superintendent puts out. We also have a telephone book and the school website. Power struggles come into play some with school board members being so closely related to staff and administration. Our small town, most are related to someone in town. Half of our building administration grew up in Hugoton, and so they have long-time ties to the community, which is good, but also to school board, and sometimes that can cause conflicts. And when their conflict arises, the proper chain of command is not always followed. Teachers feel a little more free to call school board members instead of going to their building principals and through the proper chain. Our multicultural issues, I think our school does a really good job of dealing with these. We have multicultural nights at school. Our migrant programs bring families in to participate in school activities. My husband is from Mexico, and we comment often about how we're seeing more and more Hispanic fathers involved, and that's celebrated through our school's Facebook page and our website. And our Hispanic population is accepted as part of the community. A lot of families have been here for many, many years, so there's really not a racial divide in town or in the schools, just minor things. The power structure within the school, because we are so small, parents will often bypass teachers and administrators and either go straight to superintendent or particularly school board members. And the board members do not always redirect those complaints back through the proper channels. They tend to get involved. Maybe it's a relative or a friend, and so that can cause problems and power struggles with the hierarchy of the school system. We also see some favoritism toward board members or prominent community members, children, from administrators, wanting to bend the rules sometimes maybe for those kiddos. And I think to improve upon that, staff and student handbooks could be followed better. I think our school could do a better job of measuring public opinion. We have site councils in each of our buildings, and it is open to any parent or community member that would like to volunteer. I think we could do a better job of getting that out and using site council in a better way. Our school board meetings are open to the community, and our school could do a better job through surveys of parents and community members and just outreach to better serve our community. That's my presentation. Thank you for your time.